Ji Woo sat in the back corner of the combat theory classroom, her eyes fixed on the holographic display at the front. Around her, alien cadets of every imaginable shape and size filled the seats. Some had scales that shimmered like metal. Others glowed with inner light. A few didn't even have solid bodies, existing as clouds of energy contained in specialized suits. And then there was Ji Woo, small, human, ordinary. Cadet Park, Commander Velroth's voice cut through the room like a blade. The reptilian instructor's three eyes focused on her with barely concealed disappointment. Please explain your tactical approach to the simulation. Ji Woo stood, feeling every eye in the room turn toward her. She kept her voice steady. I would establish a defensive perimeter here, using the terrain advantage to funnel enemy forces into a kill zone. Then coordinate with support units to defensive. Tae-sung's laugh boomed from the front row. The massive Craxton warrior turned in his seat, his four arms crossing over his chest. Humans and their fear. This is why your species will always be weak. Several other cadets joined in the laughter. Ji Woo felt her jaw tighten, but she forced her expression to remain neutral. She had practiced that look in the mirror 1,000 times. That's enough, Velroth said, though his tone suggested he didn't entirely disagree. Continue, Cadet Park. But the damage was done. Ji Woo finished her explanation to a room of smirking faces and dismissive glances. When she sat down, she caught the sympathetic look from Haijin, her human roommate, sitting 3 rows ahead. It somehow made things worse that the rest of class passed in a blur of tactical scenarios and combat simulations. When it finally ended, Ji Woo gathered her datapad and headed for the door, keeping her head down. She didn't want to talk to anyone. She didn't want their pity or their mockery. Hey, Park! Tae-zoon blocked her path, his massive frame filling the doorway. Sparring practice in 20 minutes. Try not to break this time. His friends laughed. Ji Woo simply nodded and slipped past him, her small size allowing her to duck under his arm. She heard their jokes follow her down the corridor, but she didn't look back. The academy hallways were magnificent, built to accommodate dozens of species. High ceilings, wide passages, and viewing ports that showed the planet Nexera Prime spinning below. Ji Woo had been here for 6 months now, and she still felt like an intruder in a place meant for giants. She made her way to the training hall, stopping briefly at her locker to change into practice gear. The room was empty, giving her a moment of peace. She caught her reflection in the polished metal door. Brown eyes stared back at her, set in a face that looked too young, too soft for a military academy. She was 19, but she could pass for 16. Her black hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail. No enhancements. No modifications. Just human, you okay? Haijin appeared beside her, already dressed for sparring. She was taller than Ji Woo, more athletic, with the cybernetic arm implants that most human cadets chose to compete with stronger species. I'm fine, Ji Woo said. You don't have to keep doing this, Haijin said softly. You could get enhancements. Even minor ones would help. Everyone would understand. Ji Woo closed her locker. I'm fine the way I am. But you're not fine, Haijin insisted. You're the best strategic mind in our class. Everyone knows it, but they only see what you can't do physically. If you just, I said I'm fine. Haijin fell silent, hurt flashing across her face. Ji Woo immediately regretted her tone, but she couldn't explain. She could never explain. The training hall filled quickly with cadets preparing for sparring practice. Ji Woo took her position in the practice ring, facing a Velmorian student whose rocky exterior made him look like a walking boulder. The match lasted 30 seconds. He simply stood still while she tried various strikes, none of which seemed to affect him. When time was called, He hadn't even bothered to fight back. Pathetic, she heard someone mutter. Her next 3 matches went similarly. Against faster opponents, she was too slow. Against stronger ones, too weak. By the time she faced Tae-sung, she was bruised and exhausted, more from emotional fatigue than physical. "Let's make this quick," Tae-sung said, cracking his knuckles with all 4 hands. "I have better things to do." The match began. Ji-woo tried to use technique over strength, the way she'd been taught. She ducked under his first swing, stepped inside his guard, aimed for pressure points. But Tae-sung was a trained warrior too, and he had 4 arms to her too. He caught her with a backhand that sent her sprawling across the mat. Pain exploded in her ribs. Ji-woo gasped, struggling to breathe. Through blurred vision, she saw Tae-sung standing over her, his expression caught between satisfaction and concern. "I barely touched her," he said to the instructor supervising. "Humans are too fragile for this academy." The medical scanner confirmed a cracked rib. In the academy's medical bay, Ji-woo lay on the examination table while a medical drone worked on her injury. The Korthan doctor reviewed her file on a holographic display. "Cadet Park," the doctor said, his insectoid features clicking thoughtfully. "Your file indicates you've refused all enhancement procedures. Bone strengthening, muscle augmentation, neural interface upgrades. Most human students accept at least basic modifications to compete." "I don't want modifications," Ji-woo said. "May I ask why?" "Personal reasons." The doctor studied her for a long moment. "You're aware this puts you at a significant disadvantage?" "I'm aware." He made a note in her file and left. The medical drone finished its work, flooding her system with healing nanits that would repair the crack in hours instead of weeks. Standard treatment, nothing permanent. Ji-woo closed her eyes and waited for the medicine to take effect. That evening, she walked alone through the Hall of Legends. It was a massive chamber filled with holographic displays of decorated warriors from every species in the United Galactic Council. War heroes who had saved worlds, led armies, made the ultimate sacrifice. Several displays showed humans. Admiral Kwon Dong-jun, who broke the siege of Titan. Commander Lee Young-mi, who held the line at Proxima Gate. Captain Nam Soo-bin, who gave his life to evacuate a colony ship. Ji-woo stopped before Admiral Kwon's display. The hologram showed him standing in full dress uniform, medals covering his chest, his face scarred from decades of combat. The text below listed his achievements in battle after battle. Humanity's greatest living warrior. She pulled her hood up and hurried, past before anyone saw her staring. Back in her dorm room, Ji-woo sat on her bed and pulled out her personal communicator. It was standard academy issue, nothing special to look at. But when she entered a specific code sequence, a hidden partition opened. The message waiting for her was encrypted, visible for only 10 seconds before it would delete itself. Target confirmed in Academy. Observe and report. Do not engage. Maintain cover at all costs. Phantom Division Command. Ji-woo read it twice, memorizing every word. Then she watched it disappear from the screen. She lay back on her bed, staring at the ceiling, and allowed herself a moment of honesty that no one else would ever see. Her ribs didn't actually hurt anymore. The injury had been minor, easily controlled. She could have blocked Tae-sung's strike, could have countered it, could have put him on the ground in 3 moves, but that wasn't what she was here for. Ji-woo closed her eyes and let sleep take her. Knowing tomorrow would bring more mockery, more struggling, more pretending to be something she wasn't. The mission required it. So she would endure it. After all, she had endured much worse. The announcement came during morning formation. Commander Velroth stood before the assembled cadets, his scales gleaming in the artificial sunlight that filled the courtyard. The annual war games begin in 2 days, he announced. You will be divided into teams of 12 and dropped on Kresh Moon for 3 days of survival exercises. Your performance will determine your final rankings for the year. Excited murmurs spread through the formation. The war games were legendary. Brutal, the ultimate test of everything they'd learned. Some cadets wouldn't make it through. Others would emerge as champions. Ji Woo kept her expression carefully neutral, but inside, her mind was already working. 3 days in hostile territory. Limited supplies. Natural predators. It would be the perfect opportunity to observe her. Classmates under real pressure. The team assignments appeared on everyone's datapads that afternoon. Ji Woo looked at her list and felt her heart sink, though not for the reasons anyone would expect. Her team was exactly what she'd feared: a collection of the Academy's weakest cadets. Species from minor worlds. Students who struggled in training. The misfits. And her as their only human. They put all the failures together, Hai Jin said, looking over Ji Woo's shoulder. She wasn't on the same team. That's not fair. It's fine, Ji Woo said. But she was calculating. A weak team meant more attention. More chances to reveal herself accidentally. More problems. Tae-sung and his friends got the prime team assignment. All top fighters. All physically dominant species. They would be the favorites to win. He made sure everyone knew it. Try to survive, Park, he called across the courtyard. Maybe if you hide well enough, your team won't finish last. Ji Woo didn't respond. She just walked away, already planning how to keep her team alive without revealing too much of what she could do. 2 days later, they were loaded into transport ships and dropped on Kresh Moon. Moment Ji Woo stepped off the ramp, she assessed everything. Gravity was 0.8 standard. Atmosphere breathable, but thin. Temperature dropping. Rocky terrain with limited cover. Native wildlife readings showed predators in the area. Her team scattered immediately. Everyone trying to establish dominance. No one listening to anyone else. It was chaos. Exactly what she expected. We need to find water, one cadet said. No. We need shelter first, another argued. We should hunt while there's still light. Ji Woo listened for 5 minutes, then spoke quietly. We need to establish a perimeter and assess our supplies. No one listened to her. By nightfall, they'd wasted hours arguing and wandering. They had no shelter, no fire, and half the team was already complaining about hunger. Ji Woo had silently gathered what she could, identifying edible plants, finding water, noting defensible positions. But she kept it to herself. If she took charge, they'd ask questions about how she knew these things. So she stayed quiet and let them struggle. The second day was better. They found a cave system and set up a basic camp. They weren't thriving, but they were surviving. Ji Woo helped where she could without drawing attention. She caught fish in a nearby stream, using a trap she made look accidental. She accidentally discovered which roots were safe to eat. Small things. Helpful, but not suspicious. That afternoon, the sky exploded. Ji Woo saw at first a bright streak of fire cutting across the purple sky. The damaged orbital defense satellite, tumbling out of control, trailing debris and smoke. She knew immediately it was going to hit near them. Had maybe 3 seconds to react. Everyone down. She shouted, tackling the nearest cadet and pulling them behind a boulder. The impact shook the moon. A massive explosion lit up the horizon. Then another. And another. Pieces of the satellite raining down across the exercise area. Screams echoed from other team locations. When the dust settled, chaos reigned. Ji Woo's communicator crackled with emergency signals. Teams calling for help. Injured cadets. Destroyed equipment. The communication relays were gone. The safety protocols had failed. They were stranded on a hostile moon with wounded students and no way to call for rescue. We need to help them. Hai-Jin's voice came through Ji Woo's communicator. She was with another team about 3 kilometers away. People are dying. Ji Woo closed her eyes. This was the moment. She could keep hiding, stay safe, maintain her cover. Or she could do what she was trained to do. The choice wasn't really a choice at all. Everyone listen to me, Ji Woo said, her voice cutting through the panic. Something in her tone made people stop and stare. We're moving to the crash site. Grab medical supplies and anything useful. We move in 2 minutes. Who put you in charge? One of her teammates demanded. Ji Woo looked at him. Really looked at him. Let a fraction of what she kept buried show in her eyes. Would you rather die arguing or live following orders? He went quiet. They reached the crash site in 40 minutes. It was worse than Ji Woo expected. The satellite had come down right in the middle of where 3 teams had set up camp. Cadets were scattered everywhere. Some were trapped under debris. Others were bleeding. Commander Velroth was unconscious, his leg crushed under a piece of hull. The healthy cadets were panicking, running in circles, shouting over each other. Stop, Ji Woo said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the noise like a knife. Everyone stopped. They stopped, stared at this small human girl who suddenly seemed different somehow. You 3, Ji Woo pointed. Start pulling survivors from the debris. You 5, establish a triage area over there. You 2, inventory medical supplies. You, she pointed at a massive Craxton, start building a shelter using that wreckage. Move. They moved. Without question. Without argument. Taesung stumbled over, blood running down his face from a cut above his eye. Park, what are you? Sit down, Ji Woo said. You're concussed. If you stand up, you'll pass out. I'm fine. Sit down. He sat. For the next hour, Ji Woo organized the survivors with mechanical efficiency. She triaged injuries with the precision of a combat medic. She stabilized Commander Velroth's leg using materials from the wreckage. She rationed medical supplies. She set up a defensive perimeter against the predators. She knew would be attracted by the blood and chaos. Every movement was practiced, professional, nothing like the clumsy cadet who could barely pass her physical trials. Hai-Jin worked beside her, setting a broken arm on a Velmorian student. She kept glancing at Ji Woo, her expression growing more confused. Finally, she pulled Ji Woo aside. Those hand signals you're using, Hai-Jin whispered. I've seen them before. In classified footage of the Phantom Division. Ji Woo's hands stilled for just a moment. Then she continued working. You're mistaken. I'm not, Hai-Jin said. My brother tried to join them. He failed the screening, but he showed me some of their training materials. Those signals, that combat stance you used earlier, the way you stabilized the commander's leg, that's not academy training, Ji Woo. That's special operations. Black Ops. We need to focus on the survivors, Ji Woo said. Who are you really? Before Ji Woo could answer, a scream came from the perimeter. One of the cadets on watch stumbled back, pointing into the darkness. Red eyes gleamed in the shadows. Lots of red eyes. The native predators had arrived. Defensive positions, Ji Woo called out. Form a circle around the wounded. Non-combatants in the center. We can't fight them all, Taesung said, struggling to his feet despite his concussion. There are too many. Ji Woo looked at the approaching predators. Calculated numbers, attack patterns, available weapons. Then she reached into her pack and pulled out a small device that definitely wasn't standard. Academy issue. She pressed a button. A high-pitched frequency filled the air. The predators stopped, confused. Then they scattered, running back into the darkness. What was that? Someone asked. Emergency wildlife deterrent, Ji Woo said. Standard survival equipment. It was a lie. That device was Phantom Division tech, highly classified, and she'd just revealed it to everyone. That's not standard equipment, Hai-Jin said, quietly beside her. Ji Woo didn't respond. She was too busy watching the wreckage, where she'd spotted something in the debris. Part of the satellite's communication array. Damaged, but maybe salvageable. She walked over and began examining it. Within minutes, she'd identified the problem as severed power coupling and fried relay circuits. Nothing she couldn't fix with the right tools and components. We can rebuild this, she said to herself. Rebuild it? Tae-Sung had followed her. Park, that's a level 9 communication array. You'd need advanced engineering training and specialized equipment to even Ji-Vong. Ji Woo was already pulling components from other parts of the wreckage. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, stripping wires, rerouting circuits, jury-rigging connections that shouldn't work, but somehow did. An hour later, a weak signal began transmitting. A distress beacon. Not strong enough to reach orbit, but enough to alert anyone scanning the area. The cadets stared at her. This clumsy girl who failed physical trials. This weak human who couldn't even block a simple punch. She'd organized a disaster site, tried dozens of injuries, driven off predators, and rebuilt advanced technology with spare parts. Okay, Tae-Sung said slowly. Who are you really? Ji Woo stood, wiping her hands on her pants. She looked at all of them, saw the questions in their eyes, the confusion, the beginning of understanding. Her communicator buzzed. She pulled it out, saw the message. Situation contained. Maintain cover compromise to minimum. She typed back quickly. Negative. Cover significantly compromised. Situation critical. Survivors stabilized. Distress beacon active. The response came immediately. Multiple hostile contacts inbound to your location. Not Academy personnel. Repeat, not Academy personnel. You are weapons-free if cover is compromised. Council security is at stake. Ji Woo looked up from her communicator, looked at the young cadets around her. Most of them had mocked her. Some had hurt her. All of them had dismissed her. Now they would learn why humanity's greatest warriors never advertised their strength. Everyone listened carefully, she said, her voice carrying a command that made even the strongest cadets stand straighter. Rescue is coming. But so is something else. And when it gets here, you're all going to stay behind me. Understood? What's coming? Hai-Jin asked. Ji-Woo checked her hidden weapons, the ones she'd kept concealed for 6 months. The reason I'm really here. Dawn came slowly to Kresh Moon, the purple sky gradually brightening to pale orange. Ji Woo hadn't slept. She'd spent the night on watch, her eyes scanning the horizon, her enhanced hearing picking up sounds the others couldn't detect. They were coming. She could feel it. The other cadets stirred as light filled their makeshift camp. Commander Velroth was stable but still unconscious. The injured were resting. The healthy ones moved quietly, unnerved by Ji Woo's intensity during the night. She'd changed. Everyone could see it. The awkward, weak cadet was gone, replaced by something none of them recognized. You should rest, Hai-Jin said, approaching with a ration pack. You've been up all night. Can't, Ji Woo said simply. Her eyes never left the horizon. What are you waiting for? You'll see soon enough. Tae-Sung joined them, his concussion mostly healed thanks to the medical nanits. His forearms crossed as he studied Ji Woo. I've been thinking about last night. The way you organized everything. The medical knowledge. That technology you used. None of that is normal academy training. No, Ji Woo agreed. It's not. So what are you? Ji Woo glanced at him. Phantom Division. Deep cover operative. I've been here for 6 months gathering intelligence on a security threat within the academy. The words hung in the air. Haijin's eyes went wide. Tae-sung actually stepped back. Phantom Division isn't real, Haijin whispered. It's propaganda. Ghost stories to scare enemy forces. We're very real, Hee-woo said. And we're very good at not being seen. Why tell us now? Tae-sung asked. Because in about 10 minutes, armed mercenaries are going to attack this position. They're not here for the academy exercise. They're here for someone specific. And I need you all to follow my orders exactly if you want to survive. As if summoning them with her words, the first shots rang out. Energy bolts tore through the camp. A cadet screamed. Another dove for cover. Ji Woo was already moving, faster than anyone had seen her move before. She grabbed Haijin and Tae-sung, pulling them behind the wreckage, just as another volley of shots scorched the ground where they'd been standing. Stay down, Ji Woo commanded. Protect the wounded. What are you going to do? Tae-sung demanded. Ji Woo's hands moved to hidden seams in her uniform. She pulled out weapons that definitely weren't academy issue. A compact plasma pistol, monofilament fighting knives, a tactical scanner, equipment that looked simple but screamed military-grade technology. My job, she said. Then she was gone, moving through the camp like smoke. The mercenaries came in force. 12 of them, heavily armed and armored. They moved with professional precision, spreading out to flank the survivors. They were good, well-trained, probably veterans of a dozen conflicts they weren't ready for. Ji-Woo. She hit the first one before he even knew she was there. A blur of movement, and he was on the ground, his weapon sparking uselessly. The second mercenary turned, bringing his rifle up. Ji Woo was inside his guard in an instant, her knife finding the weak point in his armor with surgical precision. The other cadets watched in stunned silence as this small human girl moved through trained killers like death. Itself, Ji Woo's fighting style was unlike anything they'd seen. It wasn't the brutal power fighting they taught at the academy. It was efficient, lethal. Every movement served a purpose. No wasted energy. No hesitation. She used the mercenaries' strength against them, redirected their attacks, found weak points that shouldn't exist. A massive armored mercenary, easily twice her size, tried to grab her. Ji Woo slid under his arms, her blade finding the joint in his leg armor. He went down screaming. She was already moving to the next target. Impossible, Tae-sung breathed. Humans aren't that fast. She is, Haijin said, her voice filled with awe and fear. 5 mercenaries down. 7 still operational. They adjusted their tactics, staying at range, using suppressing fire. Professional, disciplined, but Ji Woo had been fighting professionals her entire life. She triggered her tactical scanner, analyzing their positions in microseconds. Then she pulled a small device from her belt and threw it into the center of their formation. The mercenaries scattered, expecting an explosion. Instead, the device emitted an electromagnetic pulse. Their armor systems flickered. Shields dropped. Targeting systems failed. For 3 seconds, they were vulnerable. 3 seconds was all Ji Woo needed. She moved through them like a storm. 1, 2, 3 more down before they could recover. The remaining 4 mercenaries fell back, regrouping behind a section of wreckage. Target confirmed. One of them called into his communicator. Female human cadet. Enhanced combat capabilities. Requesting backup. Negative, a voice crackled back. Complete the mission or don't come back. The mercenary leader stepped forward, pulling his helmet off. He was Craxton, like Tae-Sung, but older and covered in scars. "You're the Phantom Division operative we were warned about." "Warned?" Ji-Woo kept her weapons ready. "Who hired you?" "You know I won't tell you that." "You will eventually. Question is whether you walk away alive." The mercenary leader laughed. "Little human girl with big words. Your reputation is exaggerated. Test that theory if you want." They came at her together. 4 trained killers coordinating their attack. It should have been overwhelming. Ji-Woo met them head on. The fight lasted less than a minute. The mercenary leader was good. His 3 remaining soldiers were competent, but they were fighting someone who'd been trained since childhood to be humanity's ultimate warrior. Someone who'd survived battlefields across a dozen worlds. When it was over, 3 mercenaries were unconscious. The leader was on his knees, Ji-Woo's blade at his throat. "Who hired you?" she asked again. Blood dripped from the mercenary's mouth. "Someone inside the academy." "That's all I know. We were contracted to eliminate targets during the war games. Make it look like accidents. Targets, plural? Admiral Kwon Dong-jun is scheduled to visit next week. We were supposed to eliminate key human cadets first, destabilize human influence in the academy, then move on the Admiral during his inspection." Ji-Woo's blade pressed slightly harder. "Who else knows about this?" "I don't know. They used cutouts. Dead drops. Professional tradecraft." He coughed, wincing. "But I know one thing. Whoever's running this operation, they knew you were here. They knew about Phantom Division. This whole attack was to expose you, force you to reveal yourself." "Congratulations," Ji-Woo said coldly. "Mission accomplished." She knocked him unconscious and turned back to find every surviving cadet staring at her. Hai-Jin looked shocked. Tae-Sung looked confused. Others looked afraid. "So," Tae-Sung said slowly, "you really are Phantom Division?" "Yes. And you've been pretending to be weak this whole time?" "Yes. Why?" Ji-Woo holstered her weapons. "Because my mission required it. I was gathering intelligence on a conspiracy within the academy. Someone is targeting human military leadership. These mercenaries were just the opening move. But you let us mock you," a Velmorian cadet said. "You let Tae-Sung hurt you in sparring. You let everyone think you were useless." "I needed to be underestimated," Ji-Woo said. "People tell their secrets around those they don't take seriously. They reveal their true nature when they think there are no consequences." Tae-Sung's face darkened. "So you were judging us, testing us." "I was observing." "That's what I do." "And what did you observe?" Hai-Jin asked quietly. "What did you learn about us while we treated you like garbage?" Ji-Woo looked at her friend, at the hurt in her eyes. "I learned that most of you are good people facing impossible pressure. I learned that strength makes you arrogant, and weakness makes you cruel. I learned that everyone here is afraid of being seen as lesser, so they make sure someone else fills that role. And that someone was you," Hai-Jin said. "By choice. I volunteered for this mission." "Some choice," Tae-Sung muttered. "Let people abuse you for months so you can spy on them." "Someone had to," Ji-Woo said. "And I was the best qualified." A sound from the wreckage cut off further conversation. Commander Velroth was waking up. He groaned, his eyes opening slowly. When he focused on Ji-Woo standing over the unconscious mercenaries, his expression shifted from confusion to understanding. "Cadet Park," he said. "Or should I use your real designation?" "Wraith 7, Ji-Woo said. "But Ji-Woo is fine." Velroth struggled to sit up. "How long have you been operational in my academy?" 6 months, sir. Since the beginning of the semester. "And you found evidence of conspiracy?" "Yes, sir. Someone within the academy hired these mercenaries to eliminate." human cadets and target Admiral Quan during his scheduled visit. The conspiracy goes deeper than we thought. Multiple species governments may be involved. Velroth's 3 eyes narrowed. This is a disaster. The Council will demand explanations. There will be investigations. Accusations of human spying. I know, Gawu said. But people are alive because I was here. Would you prefer I'd let them die to preserve political comfort? The commander had no answer for that. A distant sound made Ji Woo's head. SNAP up. Engines. Multiple ships approaching fast. She checked her scanner and felt relief wash over her. Rescue fleet incoming, she said. Human military signature. Admiral Quan is with them. The Admiral himself? Velroth looked alarmed. Why would he? Because I triggered an emergency protocol last night, Ji Woo explained. When those mercenaries attacked, it meant my cover was completely blown. At that point, the mission parameters changed. Admiral Quan is here to extract me and deal with the fallout. The ships descended, kicking up dust and debris. They were human military vessels, sleek and dangerous. The boarding ramps dropped, and armed soldiers poured out, securing the perimeter with military efficiency. Then Admiral Quan Dongjun himself stepped off the command ship. He was exactly as imposing as his hologram suggested. Tall for a human, scarred, gray hair-cut military short. His dress uniform was crisp despite the early hour. His eyes swept the camp, taking in everything in seconds. Then he walked straight to Ji Woo and saluted. Wraith 7, he said. Status report. Ji Woo returned the salute. Satellite crash was accidental. Mercenary attack was planned. 12 hostiles neutralized. 1 captured for interrogation. Conspiracy confirmed within the Academy. Estimated timeline accelerated. Cover completely compromised. Casualties? None fatal. Multiple injuries. All stable. Good work, operative. Behind them, the cadets were staring. Admiral Quan, humanity's greatest living warrior, had just saluted a 19-year-old girl they'd spent months mocking. Sir? Tae-sung stepped forward. I don't understand. If she's Phantom Division, why send her to the Academy? Why make her pretend to be weak? Admiral Quan looked at the Craxton warrior. Because, cadet, sometimes the greatest weapon is the enemy's assumption of your weakness. And sometimes the best intelligence comes from those who think you're not worth watching. He turned back to Ji Woo. We need to debrief. The conspiracy you uncovered goes higher than we feared. The Council will demand explanations. I know, Ji Woo said. This is going to get complicated. It already is. Admiral Quan nodded. Then he addressed all the cadets. What happened here is now classified. You will not discuss it with anyone outside this group. Understood? They nodded, still in shock. As the medical teams began evacuating the wounded, Hygiene approached Ji Woo one more time. Did any of it matter? She asked. Our friendship, our conversations. Was it all just part of your mission? Ji Woo met her eyes. The mission was observation. The friendship was real. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you the truth. Will I see you again? I don't know. That depends on what happens next. Hai-Shin nodded, tears in her eyes, and walked away. Ji Woo watched her go, feeling the weight of 6 months of deception settling on her shoulders. She'd completed her mission, exposed the conspiracy, saved lives, but the cost was every relationship she'd built, every moment of normalcy she'd pretended to have got. It was always the cost, and she'd always paid it. Because that was what Phantom Division operatives did. They sacrificed everything, so others could live in safety, even if those others would never know the price. The Academy Medical Center was chaos. Injured cadets filled every bed, while medical staff rushed between patients. Commander Velroth underwent emergency surgery for his crushed leg. Other instructors coordinated with the rescue teams. And in the center of it all, Admiral Kwan held a secure conference with Academy leadership. Ji Woo stood outside the conference room, waiting. She'd showered and changed into a clean uniform, but she still felt the weight of the past 24 hours. Her secret was out. 6 months of careful cover work destroyed in a single night. The door opened. Admiral Kwan gestured her inside. The room was filled with Academy officials and military officers. Some were human. Most weren't. And all of them were staring at her with expressions ranging from anger to confusion. Cadet Park, Academy Director Zander began. He was a tall, crystalline being whose voice resonated like chimes. Or should I say, Phantom Division Operative Wraith 7? Would you care to explain why humanity saw fit to place a spy in my academy? Not a spy, Admiral Kwan said before Ji Woo could respond. An intelligence operative conducting a legitimate security investigation without informing the academy leadership? Zander's crystalline form flickered with indignation. This is a severe breach of protocol and trust. Protocol that would have been impossible if we'd informed you, Admiral Kwan said calmly. We had intelligence suggesting a security threat within the academy itself. Someone with access. Someone trusted. We couldn't risk revealing our investigation. So you assume we're all traitors? Another instructor demanded. This is an insult to every species represented here. It's practical security, Admiral Kwan countered. And the mercenary attack proves we were right to be cautious. Those mercenaries could have been responding to your operative's presence, Zander argued. Perhaps they wouldn't have attacked at all if you hadn't planted a spy among our students. The argument escalated, voices rising. Ji Woo stood silently, watching the political maneuvering. This was above her pay grade. She'd done her job. Now the politicians would decide what it meant. Finally, Admiral Kwan held up his hand. Director Zander, what matters now is that students are alive because Wraith 7 was there. We can debate the ethics later. Right now, we need to focus on the immediate threat. Someone within the academy hired those mercenaries. Until we identify them, everyone is in danger. That sobered the room. Zander's crystalline form dimmed slightly. You're right, of course. Security must be our priority. He turned to Ji Woo. Operative, what do you need from us? Access to Academy personnel files, Ji Woo said. Communication logs. Financial records. Anything that might show who made contact with outside contractors. That will take time to compile. Then start now. The mercenary leader said the attack was meant to happen during your visit. Ji Woo looked at Admiral Kwan. That's 6 days from now. If we don't identify the traitor before then, they'll try again. The meeting continued for another hour, establishing protocols and assigning tasks. When it finally ended, Kai Wu found herself alone with Admiral Kwan in the corridor. You did well out there, he said. The mission was sound. The execution was flawless. The cover compromise was unavoidable, Ji Woo said. I know. You made the right call. He paused, studying her. How are you holding up? I'm fine, sir. That's not what I asked. Ji Woo looked away. 6 months of work. Gone in one night. Work that saved lives. Work that exposed a genuine threat. That's a win, operative. Doesn't feel like one. Admiral Kwan's scarred face softened slightly. It never does when you're the one paying the price. But that's why we do this job. Someone has to. They walked in silence for a moment. Then Ji Woo asked, What happens now? Do I get extracted? That's your choice, Admiral Kwan said. We can pull you out, give you a new assignment. Or you can stay, continue the investigation from inside the academy. But if you stay, you'll be doing it as yourself. No more hiding. They'll never trust me again. Some won't. Others might surprise you. He stopped walking and faced her directly. Ji Woo, you spent 6 months being treated like you were worthless. You endured mockery and abuse to complete your mission. That takes a special kind of strength. The cadets are beginning to understand that. Give them time. Ku Woo nodded, though she wasn't convinced. The next few days were surreal. Ji Woo returned to classes, but everything was different. Cadets stared at her in hallways. Conversations stopped when she entered rooms. Some looked at her with newfound respect. Others with suspicion or fear. Tae-soon was one of the first to approach her. He found her in the training hall, where she was running through combat drills. Real combat drills, not the clumsy attempts she'd faked before. Can we talk? He asked. Ji-Woo stopped mid-form, breathing steadily despite the intense workout. What about? I owe you an apology, Tae-soon said. His forearms hung awkwardly at his sides. I treated you terribly. I mocked you, hurt you in sparring, made you feel worthless. And all that time, you could have destroyed me. Yes, Ji Woo said simply. Why didn't you? That day, I injured your ribs. You could have countered. You could have made me look foolish. Because that wasn't my mission. Your mission, Tae-soon repeated. Everything was the mission for you. But what about just being human? Just responding when someone hurts you? Ji Woo picked up her water bottle, taking a long drink before responding. I am human. That's exactly why I endured it. Humans don't have natural advantages like other species. We're not stronger or faster or more durable. So we learn to be smarter, more patient, more willing to sacrifice for the greater good. That sounds lonely. It is, Ji Woo admitted. But loneliness is temporary. Security threats are permanent if not addressed. Tae-soon was quiet for a moment. For what it's worth, you've taught me more about strength in the past few days than I learned in years of training. Real strength isn't about muscles or weapons. It's about discipline, sacrifice, choosing to endure when you could choose to strike back. Thank you, Ji Woo said, surprised by the sincerity. Can I ask you something? That day you blocked my strike on Kresh Moon, when you moved me aside like I weighed nothing, how strong are you really? Ji Woo smiled slightly. Strong enough. Humans focus on efficiency. We don't need to be the strongest if we know exactly where and how to apply force. Tae-soon shook his head in wonder. I called your species weak. I was an idiot. You weren't wrong, Ji Woo said. Individually, humans are weak compared to most species. But we don't fight as individuals. We fight as a collective. Every human who serves carries the training, knowledge, and sacrifice of every human who came before. That's our real strength. Over the following days, more cadets approached her. Some apologized. Others asked questions about Phantom Division. A few wanted to understand how humans could produce warriors, capable of matching species with natural combat advantages. Ji Woo answered what she could while continuing her investigation. She poured through personnel files, looking for patterns. Financial irregularities. Unusual communications. Anything that might identify the traitor. Hai-jin helped, despite the tension between them. They worked side by side in the Academy's data center, cross-referencing records and analyzing data. I looked up Phantom Division after everything happened, Hai-jin said one evening. Most of the information is classified, but I found some things. The selection process is brutal. Only 1 in 1,000 applicants makes it through training. 1 in 1,500, Ji Woo corrected. The numbers are classified, but that's the real ratio. When did you join? I was recruited at 14. Finished training at 17. I've been operational for 2 years. Hai-jin stared at her. 14? You were a child. I was a volunteer. Phantom Division doesn't take anyone who doesn't choose to be there. But why? Why would a 14-year-old choose that life? Ji Woo was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft. Because when I was 12, my colony was attacked by raiders. The defense forces couldn't respond in time. By the time help arrived, half the settlement was gone, including my parents. Ji Woo, I'm so sorry. The security forces did everything they could, but they weren't trained for that kind of threat. They weren't ready. Ji Woo looked up from her data screen. I decided that day that I would be ready, that I would learn to handle the threats others couldn't see coming. So when Phantom Division recruiters came to my school 2 years later, I volunteered immediately. Do you regret it? Sometimes, Ji Woo admitted. But then I think about the cadets on Kresh Moon, about Commander Velroth, about everyone who would have died if I hadn't been there. And I know I made the right choice. They worked in silence after that, but the tension between them had eased somewhat. 3 days before Admiral Kwan's scheduled visit, Ji Woo found what she was looking for. A series of coded messages hidden in Academy maintenance logs. They appeared to be routine system reports, but the pattern was wrong. Too regular, too precise. She brought her findings to Admiral Kwan immediately. These messages are using a substitution cipher, she explained, displaying the data on a holographic screen. Basic, but effective. Someone has been communicating with outside contacts for months. Can you decode them? Already done. They reference the war games, the mercenary contracts, and... Ji Woo paused. Your visit. They have details that only Academy staff would know. Your exact arrival time. Your security detail composition. Your planned route through the Academy. Who sent them? Ji Woo pulled up a personnel file. The face on the screen made Admiral Kwan's expression darken. Instructor Sora, Ji Woo said. She's the human liaison officer. She's been here for 3 years. Excellent record. Trusted by everyone. One of our own, Admiral Kwan said grimly. Yes, sir. Which makes her the perfect inside agent. Do we have enough evidence to arrest her? We have the messages, but they're carefully worded. Nothing explicitly incriminating. A good lawyer could argue they're coincidental. We need her to make a mistake. Or we need to force her hand, Admiral Kwan said. Set a trap. That's risky. If she suspects we're onto her, she might run. Or worse, she might accelerate whatever attack she's planning. Then we need to be very careful about how we play this. They spent the next hour planning. It would be dangerous. It would require perfect timing. And if they failed, people would die. But that night, as Ji Woo lay in her bunk thinking through the operation, she felt a strange sense of peace. This was what she'd trained for. This was why she'd endured 6 months of mockery and pain. Tomorrow, they would catch a traitor. And maybe, just maybe, she would prove that humanity's greatest strength wasn't physical power or advanced technology. It was the stubborn refusal to give up, no matter the cost. The next morning, Ji Woo received a message on her personal communicator. It was from Instructor Sora, asking her to come to the Human Liaison Office for a private meeting. Ji Woo read the message twice, then forwarded it to Admiral Kwan with a single word: sprung. The trap was set. Now they just had to survive what came next. Ji Woo stood outside the Human Liaison Office, checking her concealed weapons one final time. She wore her standard cadet uniform, but beneath it were layers of protection and equipment. Admiral Kwan and a security team waited 3 corridors away. Ready to move on her signal. She touched the door chime. Come in, Instructor Sora's voice called. The office was small but comfortable, decorated with images from Earth and various human colonies. Sora sat behind her desk, looking exactly as she always did, friendly, professional, trustworthy. She'd been Ji Woo's primary contact when she first arrived at the academy, the one person who'd made sure the human cadets felt welcomed. Woo, Sora smiled. Please, sit down. Ji Woo sat, keeping her posture relaxed despite her heightened awareness. You wanted to see me? I wanted to check on you. Everything that happened on Kresh Moon, the revelation about your real identity, it must be difficult. I'm managing. I'm sure you are. Phantom Division trains you well. Sora's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. I have to admit, I never suspected. You played your role perfectly. Thank you. How long have you known about me? The question hung in the air between them. Ji Woo kept her expression neutral. Known what? Please, Sora said. We're both professionals. I know you've been investigating me. Those coded messages weren't as hidden as I thought, were they? Ji Woo's hand moved slightly closer to her concealed weapon. Why did you do it? Betray your own people? Sora leaned back in her chair. Betray? That's a harsh word. I prefer to think of it as correcting a mistake. A mistake. The Phantom Division, Sora said, her voice hardening. Humanity's secret shame. We hide our strength, pretend to be cooperative members of the Galactic Council, all while building shadow warriors to do our dirty work. It's cowardly. It's strategic, Ji Woo countered. It's weak. Sora stood abruptly. My family died during the Battle of New Terra. Do you know why? Because humanity didn't want to appear too aggressive. Didn't want to scare the other species. So we held back. We used minimal force. And people died because of it. I'm sorry about your family. Don't. Sora's voice was cold. Don't pretend you understand. The Phantom Division exists because humanity is afraid to show its true strength. Afraid to be what we need to be. I wanted to change that. By hiring mercenaries to kill your own people? By forcing humanity to reveal itself, Sora said. If Admiral Quan died during his visit, killed by aliens who targeted him specifically for being human, it would spark outrage. Humanity would finally stop hiding. We'd show the galaxy what we're really capable of. That's insane, Ji Woo said. Is it? You spent 6 months being mocked and abused because you pretended to be weak. How many other humans suffer the same way? How many die because we're too afraid to show our strength? Sora's hand moved to something under her desk. I'm not the villain here, Ji Woo. I'm trying to save us. By killing us? By waking us up. The desk exploded outward. Sora moved with combat-trained speed, a weapon appearing in her hand. But Ji Woo was faster. She'd been expecting this. She dove aside as the energy bolts scorched the air where she'd been sitting. Admiral Quan, go. Ji Woo shouted into her communicator while rolling behind cover. The office door exploded inward. Security forces poured in, but Sora had planned for this. She triggered a hidden device, and suddenly the walls were filled with the electromagnetic disruption field. Communicators died. Weapon targeting systems failed. The security team stumbled. Disoriented, Sora ran for the emergency exit. Ji Woo pursued. They raced through corridors. Sora heading toward the Academy's transport bay. Ji Woo followed, matching her pace, waiting for an opportunity. Other cadets jumped aside, confused by the chase dot in the transport bay. Sora reached a small ship and started its engines. But Ji Woo was already there, putting herself between Sora and the boarding ramp. It's over, Ji Woo said. Security is sealing the bay doors. You're not leaving. Sora's weapon came up, and we both die here. Or you surrender and answer for what you've done. Never. Sora's finger tightened on the trigger. The shot never came. Tae Soon appeared from behind a cargo container, his forearms grabbing Sora's weapon hand and lifting her off the ground. Hee-Jin emerged from another angle, a stunner in her hands. The blast hit Sora squarely, and she went limp. Cadet interference. Admiral Kwan's voice echoed across the bay as he entered with full security. That's getting added to both your records. Yes, sir, Taesung said, gently setting So-Rae down. Worth it, sir. Ji-Woo looked at them both, surprised. Why did you follow me? Because you taught us something, Hee-Jin said. You taught us that strength isn't just about fighting alone. It's about standing together. You spent 6 months alone. We figured it was time you had backup. Admiral Kwan secured Sora with restraints that suppressed any further resistance. Good work, all of you. Cadet Park, especially. Your investigation prevented a disaster. It's not over yet, Ji-Woo said. Sora mentioned others. This conspiracy is bigger than just her. We'll get answers, Admiral Kwan promised. She faced justice for what she's done. The next few hours were a blur of debriefings and security sweeps. Sora had indeed been working with other sympathizers who believed humanity needed to abandon its careful diplomatic approach and embrace a more aggressive stance. The conspiracy involved people across multiple worlds, though most were low-level operatives who'd been manipulated by Sora's rhetoric. None of the other conspirators had her access or knowledge. With her capture, the immediate threat was neutralized. 3 days later, Admiral Kwan made his official visit to the Academy. Security was triple what it had been planned, but the visit proceeded without incident. He gave a speech to the assembled cadets about duty, sacrifice, and the importance of cooperation between species. Ji-Woo stood in the crowd, listening. Some of you have recently learned about phantom division, Admiral Kwan said, about the lengths humanity goes to in order to protect our interests while maintaining galactic peace. You might think this makes us deceptive or untrustworthy. I would argue it makes us realistic. He paused, letting his words sink in. Every species has advantages. Natural strength, enhanced senses, longer lifespans. Humans don't have those advantages. What we have is adaptability. We have the willingness to become whatever we need to be to survive and thrive. Sometimes that means developing advanced technology. Sometimes it means intensive training. And sometimes it means operating in the shadows to prevent threats before they materialize. His eyes found Ji-Woo in the crowd. One of your fellow cadets has shown you what humanity can achieve through dedication and discipline. She endured mockery and abuse to complete her mission. She saved lives at great personal cost. That is what humans do. We endure, we adapt, we sacrifice. Not because we want to, but because someone must. The speech continued, but Ji-Woo felt the weight of hundreds of eyes on her. Some cadets looked at her with new understanding, others with respect, a few still with suspicion. But that was okay. She wasn't here to be liked. She was here to keep people safe. After the ceremony, Director Xander approached Admiral Kwan and Ji-Woo. Operative, the crystalline being said, I owe you an apology. I questioned your presence here. I accused humanity of deception. But you saved lives, including mine. For that, I am grateful. Just doing my job, Director, Ji-Woo said. Nevertheless, I would like to offer you an official position as a security consultant to the Academy. With full transparency this time. Your insights would be valuable. Ji-Woo looked at Admiral Kwan, who nodded. Your choice, Operative. The mission is complete. You can return to regular Phantom Division duties or accept the Director's offer. Ji-Woo thought about it. Thought about returning to the shadows, to missions where she would always be hidden, always be someone else. Then she thought about Taesung and Hee-Jin following her into danger, about the cadets who'd apologized, about the ones who'd asked to understand rather than judge. "I'll stay," she said. "But I stay as myself. No more hiding." "Agreed," Xander said. "And your status as Phantom Division?" "I'll remain on reserve duty," Ji-Woo said, glancing at Admiral Kwan for approval. He nodded. "Available for consultation, but primarily focused on Academy security." "Excellent. Welcome to the team, Consultant Park." The weeks that followed were strange. Ji-Woo attended classes like before, but now everyone knew who she really was. Some cadets avoided her. Others sought her out, asking questions about combat techniques or strategy. Tae soon became an unlikely friend. He trained with her regularly, learning the human approach to combat that emphasized efficiency over raw power. He was humble now, having learned that strength alone didn't make a warrior. Hai-Jin forgave her completely. They rebuilt their friendship on a foundation of honesty rather than deception. It was different than before, but somehow stronger. One evening, Ji-Woo stood alone in the Hall of Legends, looking at the holographic displays. Admiral Kwan's image still dominated, but new displays had been added. Images from the Kresh Moon incident. Images of cadets working together, human and alien alike, to survive impossible odds. And in one corner, a small display showing Ji-Woo herself, along with a simple inscription: "Strength is not the absence of weakness. It is the choice to endure despite it." Strange seeing yourself up there? Hai-Jin appeared beside her. "Very," Ji-Woo admitted. "Do you regret it? The mission? Everything that happened?" Ji-Woo thought about the question. About 6 months of mockery. About the friendships built on lies. About the violence on Kresh Moon and the betrayal of Instructor So-Ra. "No," she said finally. "I don't regret it. People are alive because of what I did. That's what matters. What about the cost to you?" "There's always a cost," Ji-Woo said. "Every soldier knows that. Every operative accepts it. The question isn't whether you'll pay a price. It's whether the price is worth what you protect. And is it?" Ji-Woo looked around the Hall of Legends, at the faces of warriors from a dozen species, at the records of battles fought and lives saved, at the young cadets walking past, laughing together, unconscious of the threats that had almost destroyed them. "Yes," she said. "It is." Tae soon joined them, his massive form somehow less intimidating than it used to be. "There you are. We're running combat drills in the training hall. You coming?" "Who's leading?" Ji-Woo asked. "You are, obviously." We all agreed. "You're the best tactical mind in our class." "I'm not actually a student anymore," Gai-Woo pointed out. "I'm a security consultant. So consult us on how not to die," Tae-Soon grinned. "Come on. Even the Velmorians want to learn from you." Ji-Woo looked at Hai-Jin, who shrugged. "You did promise to teach me that knife technique you used on the mercenaries. That's classified Phantom Division training? Then declassify it. We're all on the same side now." Ji-Woo smiled. For 6 months, she'd been alone, hidden, pretending. No. Surrounded by cadets who'd learned to see past species and strength to the person underneath. She realized something had changed. She wasn't alone anymore. "All right," she said. "Let's go. But I'm not going easy on any of you." "We wouldn't expect anything less," Tae-Soon said. They walked together toward the training hall. 3 cadets from different worlds, united by shared experience and mutual respect. Behind them, the Hall of Legends glowed softly, adding one more story to its endless collection. The story of a girl who was mocked for being weak, respected by war heroes for being strong, and loved by friends for being herself. In the end, that was what mattered most. Not the missions or the secrets or the sacrifices, but the connections forged through shared struggle. The understanding that strength came in many forms, and the knowledge that humanity's greatest power wasn't physical prowess or advanced technology. It was the ability to endure anything, adapt to everything, and never stop fighting for those who couldn't fight for themselves. Ji Woo had been trained since childhood to be humanity's shadow warrior. But standing in the training hall, surrounded by friends who saw her for who she truly was, she realized she'd become something more. She'd become a bridge between species. A teacher. A symbol that greatness wasn't given. It was earned through dedication, sacrifice, and the stubborn refusal to give up. That night, after training ended, Ji Woo sat alone on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Her communicator buzzed. A message from Phantom Division Command. Wraith 7. Mission status complete. Commendation recommended. New assignment pending. Await orders. She read it once, then deleted it. For now, she had a different mission. Teaching cadets who'd once mocked her. Protecting an academy that had doubted her. Building something that would last longer than any single operation. A young alien cadet approached nervously. He was small for his species, often teased by larger students. "Consultant Park?" He asked quietly. "Is it true that humans have no natural advantages?" Ji Woo looked at him. Saw herself 6 months ago. Saw every underestimated person who'd ever been told they weren't enough. "It's true," she said. "We're not the strongest, fastest, or most naturally gifted." The cadet's face fell. But Ji Woo continued, "We learned something important early in our history. Greatness isn't given. It's earned. Every single day. Through discipline. Through dedication. Through refusing to accept limitations. Can you teach me?" The cadet asked hopefully. Ji Woo smiled. "That's exactly what I'm here for." She stood, and together they walked back toward the training hall. Behind them, through the observation window, the galaxy spun endlessly vast, dangerous, and full of possibilities. And humanity, once underestimated, once mocked, stood ready to face it. Not through deception or hiding, but through the simple, stubborn determination to be better today than yesterday. Because that was what humans did. They endured. They adapted. They earned their place among the stars, one day at a time.